Well, hello, welcome to Berkshire Guitar Amplifier Repairs. Stuart Smith with you as always. Today it's an orange Ad30R, and the customer says that he hasn't used it for a while, and when he turned it on the sound is very thin, just a little tiny small signal, and nothing much at all. I have actually turned it on and confirmed that. If I strummed a guitar very loudly, I can just about hear it out the speaker. So I won't mess around anymore. I'll get the chassis out on this one and we'll get it up onto the bench, and we will have a look. Okay, I've got the chassis out on the bench, and here we are top side. So as you can see, it's got a rectifier, a bit warm, 4 EL84s. That's interesting. Ouch. Ah. These two EL84s here are stone cold. And these are hot. I've only had the amp on for about 2 minutes. That's interesting. Rectifier's warm, cold, cold, hot, hot. So something wrong immediately here. What the preamp valves are doing. I doubt that 2 valves have gone. I bet it's something to do with the heaters on these valves, but that wouldn't stop the amp working and producing just such a low sound. What have we got going on here? Ah, interesting. So this is warm, and these are completely cold. Stone cold, actually. It's quite cold today in the lab, and they are freezing. So we have, what on earth is going on here? Warm, cold, cold, hot, hot, I won't touch those, cold, cold, and rectifier is hot. Alright, that's interesting. There's a heater problem here. This might be our issue. Might have found it quite quickly. I was just about to check the HT fuse and a few things, but it looks like we might be on the track here already. But why are 2 preamp valves and 2 power valves cold, but 1 preamp valve and 2 power valves are warm? Makes no sense to me at the moment. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and let's have a look to see what's going on with the heater circuit on this amp. Alright, well, mystery solved in terms of why some are on and some are not. As you can see, for some unknown reason, we have 2 heater supplies here. These that yellow wire and the one beneath it coming off these plugs here. One goes off to these 2 power valves, look, here and here, and then comes around and goes off to, guess what, V2 and V3, and then V1 comes across here, goes to second power valves, which are warm, and goes off to this plug here. So that's extremely strange. There's some issue here with this heater supply. So the obvious thing to do, it's all glued on, typical. The obvious thing to do is to unplug this to start with, and then I want to measure on there, on the pins there, and see if we actually have, it says heater B there, and no, heater 8 and heater 9. Not quite sure why it says heater 8 and heater 9, but there you go. We'll pull this off here and then see if we've got any heater voltage on the pins there, and take it from there really. But that's the issue. Okay, well, a bit of a problem here. No matter how hard I pull on this connector here, even with pliers, it just doesn't shift. I don't really recognise that connector. I would have thought that would have just kind of unplugged, but it doesn't. I can see, you probably can't, but I can see the tracks are just literally connected from there to there and there to there, so these are just in parallel. This one here goes off to the pilot bulb on the front, and these are the heater windings here, these 2 thick yellow ones, and you might just about be able to see that diagonal track coming down there. Look to one side, there's a track from there going to the other side, so literally these are just connected to here and here. So I think what I'm going to have to do is to cut this wire here and connect it somehow. I know what I'll do. So I'm going to extend it from there, and I'm just going to solder it onto these two here. You can probably see that, look, this one here, where's this pink, look, here's this twisted yellow pair here which goes off to the other side of here. So I'm just going to disconnect this here and connect it over to here, and that should hopefully bring the heaters to life. But what sort of plugs these are, never seen them before, so I've no idea, I'm afraid, what they are. They don't want to come out anyway. Well, let me do that then, see if we actually get some heaters springing to life. Okay, there you go. I've just extended these wires here. They're a bit long at the moment, but I'll trim them down, and we're going to solder them onto here and hope it all springs to life. Okay, well, good news, success. All the valves are toasty, and I've got a guitar plugged in, and there we go. The amp is actually working, so we're a bit lucky there actually. I just happened to notice that they were cold. If I had not noticed that, I would have started changing preamp valves and checking HT voltages and getting a scope on it and finding where the signal was going through. So I could have wasted half an hour there, but they've got this very strange double system for the heaters. So that's that now. There are a couple of other problems with the amp. The high, unplug that, the high input there is broken off. It may just be a question of putting one of those on. I'll have a look. Also, this control is very noisy. That might respond to cleaning, but I don't like it. It's very, very bad right there in that position. So we'll give the pots a service, see if an ordinary nut will fit on there, see if we can find some knobs for these two. Bit of a sad old girl, this amp, and then take it from there. I haven't checked the reverb yet, so we can see if the reverb works as well. Right, let's make a start with cleaning the pots first of all. Okay, fortunately the pots are quite easy to clean on this amp with a little squirt of deoxit into this little gap here. Look, this little cutout there. That's a good place to squirt the cleaner. I'm using deoxit as always, and I always say in my videos, any generic cleaner will do, with the exception that about 1 in 20 pots the wiper is oxidized. The metal wiper on the pot is oxidized, and no amount of generic cleaner or alcohol will remove that oxidization. So because I do this professionally, I don't want to mess around, I just always use deoxit, and it's expensive, I know, but it does the trick. So I'll give those a quick squirt and see if which was the one. Oh yeah, this gain pot is pretty bad. That might not respond to cleaning, so let's have a go. Well, it took about 3 cleanings, but that has now worked. That pot, it was in a very bad state. That I've cleaned all the other pots too. They're all good. That's the reverb. That's why it's making all that hum. Right, let's see if, I know I've got one of these things, but let me just see if that will fit in there or whether that's actually broken off in there. I think it's okay. Here's my little stash of such things. They're not all the same, which is annoying. They've got different threads on them. Some are coarse and some are fine. So these are from amps that I've taken to bits. I obviously keep all the bits I take off an amp, and they always come in handy. So I'll just have a rootle through here and see if one of those will fit. Well, good, we were successful there too. Managed to find one that fit. So all we need to do now is to find a master knob. I think I've got that knob in the box of parts. So let's see if we can find one that looks a bit like this. Well, if you thought that stash was impressive, have a look at this lot. This is the knobs I've got for the just loads of them from amplifiers over the years. That's not a bad possibility. It's got a grub screw. I'll put that to one side. As you can see, I've got loads of them here. So we'll have a look through there, see if I've got anything that will do the trick. I'm sure we've got something. It might not be exactly right, but let's have a look. Okay, there we go. That was about the best of the bunch. That one it's not exactly the same as this, but that's all we can do. So finally, I just want to check that the reverb is working, and then we're good to go on this amp. I've got a very useful extension lead here, which has 2 female phonos on one end and 2 male on the other, quite long, and that allows me to connect into a reverb tank and then bring the lead out to the chassis without, yeah, just so I can check the reverb in situ. So let's hook that up and see if it works. Okay, I wouldn't say the reverb was stunning. We're up full on the reverb, and it's there. Nothing to write home about, but I don't think I'll do anything about that. So I think we're actually good to go on the amp. I think we can put it back together and call that job done. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. I got a bit lucky on there. I could have spent a bit more time diagnosing the fault, only to find that the valves were cold. I would have kicked myself a bit there. But anyway, you go down one route and find it's not working and then just try something else. So a bit of an odd setup with half the valves on one heater circuit and half the valves on a identical piece of wire. Did they do it to just have thinner bits of wire? Those yellow bits were quite thin, weren't they, compared to the thickness of the main transformer heaters? No idea why they did that. But anyway, we got there in the end and managed to get the amp back up and running. So good news, and we'll move on to the next one. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks as always for watching.